All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to our session today. Almost at the tail end of TDX. I hope everyone's had a good TDX so far, and I've learned something new. So our session today is how do you get started with Data Cloud? If you have been to any of our other sessions today or the keynotes and others, you know how Data Cloud is going to be a very key part in terms of creating that data foundation to really kind of drive the Salesforce 360 and the Einstein 1 platform forward. So with that being said, our forward-looking statement slide, that is just make your investment and implementation decisions based on capabilities that we have GA today. But first, a big thank you. Thank you to all of you, first of all, for showing up at the tail end of day 2 when you could be out somewhere else. And also thank you for your interest in Data Cloud. As you may have heard, Data Cloud is one of our fastest growing products, and it's thanks to trailblazers like yourself. So I'll do some intros. So I'm Arvind Raman. I am part of our partner product delivery success team. And what that basically means is we help enable our ecosystem and our trailblazers on all things Data Cloud. That's my focus. I've been in the Salesforce space for close to 15 years. I'm also a proud All-Star Ranger, and I'm 28 times certified.
I'm Melissa Shepard. I'm the managing director of a partner called SRA. We focus on marketing cloud and data cloud implementations. I'm a Salesforce certified technical architect, 36 times certified, and recently got my data cloud certification back in January. Also a Salesforce MVP, MuleSoft ambassador, and a whole bunch of other things.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. So here's today's agenda. We will give you an overview of Data Cloud, do a mini deep dive, as well as cover what are some of those use cases, and then talk about how can you get started with Data Cloud. And then we will leave some room for Q&A, so please do keep your questions and come to us. So with that being said, let's get started.
So first, we'll just do a quick overview of what Data Cloud is and some of the capabilities. So Data Cloud will connect to multiple different data sources, bring that data into one platform, and allow you to harmonize and connect that data, unify that data, and then use that data for things like analytics and then act on that data in different ways. So we'll get more into that. But first, we have to answer 3 important questions to really get started with Data Cloud. First, you need to understand what data needs to be brought into Data Cloud and where you're going to map that data. Second, how that data needs to be harmonized and unified. And last, what action needs to be taken on that data and why. But connecting all your data isn't easy, as you know. There's data from all different places like web and mobile, ML platforms, ERP, point of sale, order management, advertising, data lakes and data warehouses, financial management, analytics, and human resources. So what Salesforce Data Cloud will do, it's a hyperscale data engine built into Salesforce that's going to help you connect all that data and harmonize it in one place so that you can then use that connected data. So it helps you to know your customers. You can easily connect, federate, and harmonize data from really any product or system into a complete view of your customer. And then you can enrich your data using all this data from CRM and data from other systems to then use that data in things like marketing or commerce or really anywhere that you want. And then you can act on that data with AI in your flow of work. So it really is a foundation for the Einstein 1 platform. So I just mentioned the Einstein 1 platform. You've heard a lot about that here. Data Cloud think about that as your foundation because you really want to feed as much data into your AI as possible to make more sense of it so that your AI is going to be more accurate. So why use Data Cloud? We get this question a lot. People are asking a lot of different things. They're not really understanding it. So a little bit about what it does. It harmonizes disparate data. That means you have data in multiple different systems, and you want to connect that data together to make more sense of it and get more value from it. It unifies profiles with related data. So you have your customer information, but then you have some other data related to your customers that you can use in things like marketing or in your service or whatever it is you're trying to do. And then you can build insights on these unified profiles. And then you can also segment on these harmonized profiles. And then activate data to drive relevant experiences. So the value you're going to get here is that you're unifying this data at scale. So Data Cloud is built on Hyperforce, so you're going to get more scalability. You have out-of-the-box connectors to make it easy to point and click and bring that data into the platform. You can harmonize, unify, and predict on the data, so you have the ability to track back to the original sources. So this is the difference between ETL and Data Cloud. ETL, you're really copying the data over, where with Data Cloud, you're keeping the source data, but you're bringing it into a harmonized view. And you're enriching that data by relating other data from different sources to that data. And then that allows you to understand and act on that data. And then you create a more automated and connected experiences for your customers using that data. And so what it's not, I mentioned it's not ETL, it's not data cleansing, it's also not master data management. It's a little bit similar, but it's not. It's also not golden records, it's not data governance, it's not backup and recovery, and it's also not a business intelligence platform, but it can support all these things.
Sure. So now let's talk about how does Data Cloud work. This will cover at a very high level. So as she kind of talked about, Data Cloud lets you bring your data from different systems. You can do some transformation. You can harmonize them, unify them, and then act on them, or get value from it. So now let's do a mini deep dive as you kind of look at that. But before we do that, why did Salesforce invest, and why is Salesforce implementing and sort of building on Data Cloud? So before Data Cloud, right? I mean, I've been in the Salesforce space for close to 15 years myself. You had to do a lot of times point-to-point integration. So it was, as admins, you were building custom integrations, point-to-point, even within the Salesforce clouds. And especially as you went outside the Salesforce cloud, so if you're talking to your ERP system, your human resources system, you had to build point-to-point integration, so you were taking on technical debt and having to maintain that. So after Data Cloud, it basically lets you build more scalable and complete data integration, that too with point and click. So without having to build custom code, custom apexes, or custom connectors. So within the Salesforce, so you can bring in even, I know a lot of enterprises have multiple Salesforce orgs. So as you talk about org-to-org integration, now through Data Cloud, all that can be done through a click-no-code manner by bringing all the data into Data Cloud. And then as you include that, or you extend that footprint for external systems as well. So it basically lets you build more scalable integrations in a more, and also being able to get faster time to value. So that's why. And then just as we talked about, Data Cloud is how you're going to drive a lot of your AI initiatives forward. So really, that's why Data Cloud serves as the data foundation, and that's why we are investing so much in Data Cloud. So let's talk about, right, now, how does it work? So let's talk for a day in the life of your enterprise data or your customer data. So first is we let you bring data from different sources. So we have standard connectors to all of the Salesforce clouds, Marketing Cloud, Commerce Cloud, CRM. You can also bring in data from any of the cloud storage providers. So Amazon S3, Azure, even we also have an FTP connector. And then there's also an SDK for being able to get data from your website, mobile SDK from your mobile apps, and then there's an API to get streaming data through our ingestion API. And we also have a MuleSoft connector for no clicks, no code to be able to plug into any of your on-premise or your in-house systems. Other capability that I personally am very excited about is one thing that you see here, something called zero-copy federation, or called bring your own lake. So in this case, you don't even have to bring your data over. That data can continue to live in Snowflake, Databricks, any of the hyperscaler data lakes. And so that's a big trend that we are seeing towards this zero-copy, zero ETL data federation architecture. And then once you bring all that data within Data Cloud itself, you can do some lightweight or transformations, some lightweight, some more complex transformations from our streaming transforms, batch transforms, as well as using formula fields. So now that you have all your data, you have done some transformation, you can start to harmonize them. But before I get there, let's kind of talk about what does this mean from an admin perspective, right? So as an admin, we have pre-built connectors where you can just plug through clicks no code to be able to. So in this screen, you have connectors for all the Salesforce clouds, for Marketing Cloud, CRM, B2C commerce, your mobile app, and then you see down below S3, Google BigQuery. All these are pre-built connectors that Salesforce has already built. And then using our extensible framework, you can also, if you want, build your own connectors as well. So in this case, right, a very common, a quick value we have seen is just when you have multiple CRM orgs to be able to quickly connect that into Data Cloud through points no click and then bring all that data in. And there is no limit into the number of orgs that you can connect to. And then we also give you what's called as standard data bundles. So we talked about being able to harmonize that data. So for all the Salesforce clouds, we know what the data model looks like and what the best practices is. So when you're getting data in from CRM, from Marketing Cloud, B2C commerce, there are standard bundles in terms of how we map that data to the Salesforce 360 data model. And then the capability that we are seeing a huge uptick in is this concept of zero copy or federated data, or also sometimes called as zero ETL. So here it's showing how you can just bring data through, again, clicks, using from being able to connect to Snowflake. Like we know in a lot of enterprises, although apart from Salesforce, you have an extensive footprint with other cloud providers as well. So how do you make sure that you are able to unlock that trapped data? So in this case, being able to connect to Snowflake, and from an admin experience perspective, you just come in there, you add your Snowflake credentials, and then next, it'll show you all the schemas that you have in Snowflake, and then you get to pick and choose which objects, which fields do you want to federate, not bring in, federate to Data Cloud so that it's visible in Data Cloud that you can use. And then you just go and pick those fields that you want, and at that point, it's available to you as a data model object within Data Cloud. And then here's what it looks like from an end perspective. So here's showing you, so when you bring data in, it comes into what we call as a data stream. So in this data stream, in just simple, you can see all the different connectors and streams that it has be connected to. So from the ingestion API, Amazon S3, Salesforce CRM, your MuleSoft, and your mobile app. And then once you bring the data in, as I mentioned, we also have some transformation capabilities, right? So we get asked this, there are different transformations. So one is streaming transform. Streaming transform lets you, through a SQL-based type syntax, as that data comes in, to be able to apply those transformations. We also have something called batch transforms, which is more of a visual builder and lets you do more complex transformations. For those who may have played or used CRM analytics before, if you know something called data prep recipes, it's based on the same exact framework. And the last is we have formula fields. Just like in CRM, we have formula fields. You can apply row-level based transformation as the data is coming in, to apply. So a use case for this is simple row-level operations, to be able to concatenate existing fields. Sometimes you might need to generate some compound keys, as well as if you want to hard code any values and stuff. Just an admin tip here is you can use streaming transform, what we call as always on. Like that is continuously, as your data stream is being refreshed, it'll process. So the streaming transform is an always on type connection. And then once you get your data in, you can start to harmonize them. And then Melissa is going to talk to you about harmonization.
So an important foundation of using Data Cloud is data modeling. So this is something you're probably very familiar with as admins working in CRM. So one of the first things you want to do is understand and inventory all of your source data that you want to bring into Data Cloud. And then you want to understand where you can use the standard data model. So this is the same concept as core Salesforce. We have a standard data model, and then you can customize it. And then you want to figure out where you're going to map that data. And if you can't find a place in the standard data model, you can extend that data model if necessary. So you can create custom objects, you can create custom attributes, which are just like custom fields on standard objects. And then you can also create new objects that are related to other existing standard or custom objects. And then you can enhance that data that you bring in a map using calculated and streaming insights. So you want to make sure you have a well-planned and designed data model because that's going to help drive your harmonization. So some of the standard data cloud objects are, well, this isn't the standard data cloud model, but these are the types of objects you'll see. So you have your data source object, which is what your source you're connecting to. So this is when you create that data stream, you're going to have a DSO. And this is your original file format, such as a CSV file or some transient data storage. Then you're going to bring that data into your data lake object. So this DLO, data lake object, is created automatically from this data stream. So you think about your source data coming in, then it goes into the DLO. Then from your DLO, you're going to map that data to a data model object. So the data model object is the way you want to see your data and use it within Data Cloud. So that's your finalized version of your grouped and mapped source data with other relationships to other DMOs. So that's more like the relational design that you would think about like using in CRM, same idea. So you can do this with you can map your data with clicks and not code, which is great. So you see this, it's kind of like a, you would see something like this in an ETL tool, even though Data Cloud's not ETL, it allows you to map and transform the data from the source to your target. So you can see here you got all your different disparate systems on the left, and then you're going to bring those in using your data streams, and then you're going to map your data lake object data to your data model object data on the right side, and that's the finalized version of how you actually want to see and use your data so that you're going to get the most value out of it as possible. Here is a representation of the Customer 360 data model. So this is something you'd really want to get to know when you're bringing your data into Data Cloud. This is going to help you decide where that data is going to go and how you're going to map it and where you're going to need to customize where you can't fit that data. So a little bit about the standard versus custom data model. So why would you use the standard data model? Well, some standard objects are actually required for the Data Cloud identity resolution. Also, this is going to align you with Salesforce's opinionated data model, how they feel that data should be living in Data Cloud. It's also going to speed time to value because you're relying on pre-built object relationships. Also, there are a lot of ISV partners building App Exchange apps that are built for Data Cloud, and those are going to use the standard object. So you're going to be more compatible with those apps. So why would you want to use a custom data model? Well, you might have an established in-house data model that you're used to, and just the standard data model is not going to work for you, so you have to customize. But you really want to try not to over-customize as much as possible. It also allows your marketers and data consultants to interact with a model that they're already familiar with. It also matches existing data structures for easier system integration and implementation, and also it provides the ability to create custom objects, fields, and relationships that just don't exist that you absolutely need. But really the optimal solution is to go as much standard as possible with some customization. So you want to go standard and custom data model if your needs are not going to be met by just the standard data model.
All right, just sort of a recap of just ingestion and mapping. So I know we have thrown a lot of terms at you. So your data streams are your source data that's coming in. That's also called as a DSO. And then as the data is coming in, you can apply some formula, some transform, and then it basically lands in what's in Data Cloud is called a DLO, which is a data lake object. And then after that mapping step, you can basically see it in your DMO, which is a data model object. And DMO is nothing else but a non-materialized view of the data from your DLO that's been mapped. So just a tip is, in order for you to use it downstream for segmentation, for activation, for analytics, your data must be mapped from a DLO to a DMO before it can be used. And then once you map all the data, this is sort of gives you a very graphical user interface of what does your data model look like, right? So you can see your entire map data model in a very friendly manner. You can, expand on that and, to to give you that very holistic view. So it'll show all the different objects as well as the different relationships that exist. All right. So we talked about ingesting, doing some, preparing, connecting, and then harmonizing. What do you do with it now? So now you have your harmonized data. Now you can start to unify them. So what do we mean by unifying? Unifying is basically a process of what we call as applying an identity resolution. So identity resolution basically lets you create matching rules based on fuzzy logic or exact logic based on your different fields to find like-minded records based on what you specify. So you can create what we call as a unified customer profile, or you can also unify accounts as well, more for your B2B type use cases. So basically, in this example, data is coming in from your contact record, subscriber, from Marketing Cloud. There's a guest shopper record, as well as your customer invoices. And based on the match rules that you specified, it has created basically a unified customer profile based on those, rules. So here's just a screenshot of showing of how that works. So in this case, we have unified. On the right-hand side, you'll see that there were 64.9 or 65 million source profiles, and they have been unified down to 30.3 million source profiles. Again, this is based on the rule sets that you have specified. And again, it's just not limited to individuals. You can also unify accounts as well, in terms of those B2B type scenarios. And then, so now you have your harmonized data. It has also been unified. This is really power. How do you get value from your data? Like, how do you act on your data? And there are different ways to act on it, So let's sort of cover. So here are the different ways in terms of how we see customers, as well as how you can get value from your data. So first is analytics and insights. So you can create Data Cloud dashboards and reports. You can create some insights on them. We have something called calculated insights, which let you create basically multidimensional metrics. You can do it through a no-code SQL builder, or for our pro-code friends, we also have a full extensible SQL library as well. You can also get value from your data from analytics, being able to, just like how you can federate data from your cloud lakes, you can also share your data back out to Snowflakes and the Databricks. And last but not the least, you can also apply analytics by leveraging tools like Tableau. We have a native Tableau connector as well as CRM analytics. Second way is you can activate your data, right? So by activation, it can be segmentation, where you segment on them and then you activate them. We see that use is very common, like in the marketing channels, in your add-on channels. And then you can also activate them by using stuff as an admin, that you may, stuff like data actions and platform events, which can then be consumed in Flow to sort of create those orchestrations. And now, really excited, we also just launched Data Cloud Triggered Flows, which lets you basically use your same Flow framework, but then act on your Data Cloud data. Other way to get value is also by using machine learning, right? If you saw, we announced our Einstein Studio code builder or model builder, which lets you create low-code ML models. So it's predictive models, again, all based on clicks, no code. And if you want to get more sophisticated or for more pro code, you can even bring your own model by using tools such as SageMaker, Google Vertex. And then last but not the least, a way to also get value from your data is what we call as being able to consume Data Cloud. So just like within your CRM, either Sales Console or Service Console, we have standard Lightning Web components to be able to surface that data. We also have a very extensible API, our Query API, our Data Graphs API, to be able to consume that. And then we also launched something called CRM enrichments with like related lists. So just like you are used to your related list in your CRM, any Data Cloud object on the lead or contact record, you can pull any of those engagement data as a related list. So there are different ways in terms of how to get value. So let's double click on just a few of them that we think is very applicable to you as admin. So we talked about Data Cloud Triggered Flow. So I know the admin community loves Flow. We do too. So all of your Data Cloud data is now accessible in Flow for you to act on, right? So you can now start to automate and orchestrate across your entire enterprise data, just not CRM data, but also all the data that's in Data Cloud. Second is Data Cloud reports and dashboards. So just like how you can create CRM reports and dashboard, all of the Data Cloud DMOs is now available in your standard, what we call as Data Cloud reports. And then you can actually mix and match. So in one single dashboard, you can have data from both CRM and Data Cloud and Data Cloud in a single place for you to visualize and act on. And then, so this is more the pattern on how do you consume data. So this is a CRM Sales Console record. In this case, this data has highly been enriched from data coming from Data Cloud. So on the left-hand side, we have something called my calculated insights, or things like lifetime value or engagement score that you have computed in Data Cloud using the Data Cloud copy field capabilities. You're able to see that or store that on that contact record. For your unified leads and accounts, by using our Data Cloud Lightning Web components, you're able to display that. And then on the right-hand side, like we see, there is something called related list. So the data still lives in Data Cloud, and then you're just bringing it over just like any other CRM-related list. And then on the top side is where using our BigQuery, what we call as bring your own lake, because we have zero federation, you're able to easily access that in Data Cloud as well. And now for the other couple of things I want to sort of double click on is segmentation, right? We've been asked this. So I can even use SOQL-based segmentation, or if you're a marketing cloud client, some of the query-based segmentation tool. The Data Cloud gives you, like, again, you can segment your entirety of data that you have in Data Cloud through, again, a clicks no code approach and find those high-value segments. And then also really excited to announce, we just launched, now you can start to create segments using some of these AI capabilities as well as this GPT. So rather than even figuring out the clicks, you just sort of in natural language tell Data Cloud what segment to create, and it creates it for you. So this just launched. So all that as an admin just makes your life easier in terms of how do you, in terms of give value to your end users. So let's talk about this right now. So we talked about a lot. What does this mean for admins, and why should you care, right? So as we talk about the connection and the ingestion phase, right? So without Data Cloud, it meant that typically in the past, you would have to pick your connectors, you have to build custom integrations, you have to create exception handling, and you have to create monitoring. Now, all that just comes natively within Data Cloud. As we talk about harmonization and unification or data modeling and those identity resolution, before Data Cloud, you would have to create your own data model, you have to maintain it, you have to manage it, you would have to merge and match duplicate records, either using the native tools in CRM or some other tools, and then you have to kind of design, create your own unified records. And then as you talk about activation or getting value from it, right? Like in the past, you would have to create custom multi-org integrations. Sometimes you'd have to build and manage your own egress process to be able to activate the data. And then you would have to create your own BI visualization. And then from a machine learning wise, right, you would have to export the data to your ML instance, and then create your ML models, and then bring the data back into CRM. Now with Data Cloud, all that can be done seamlessly. So that's why we think it offers a lot of benefits for you as admin in terms of being able to drive these initiatives forward. So now Melissa is going to talk about a few use cases.
Yeah, so you might be wondering what are some practical applications of Data Cloud. So we'll go into that a little bit. So users typically won't ask you for a Data Cloud. You're going to have to keep in mind some of the things they might be asking for and think, oh, okay, this might be a good use case for Data Cloud. So maybe some of your service agents want some increased productivity by having quicker access to customer data in some other system. Or your sales team is feeling like they're bogged down by bad data that's just not usable for them, or it's not really helping their productivity. Also, maybe you're hearing that your users want to increase efficiency by using AI and automation, but your data just isn't good enough to support that. You don't have enough data. Or maybe your service agents need a single view of their customer and their data to provide better support. Because maybe they have to go log into another system and look at the data over there and then try to figure out what relates back to what they're looking at in Salesforce. Well, Data Cloud's going to make that a lot easier for them. Also, maybe they want more automation of processes. That's going to help increase productivity across orgs. And then there could be marketing use cases where they want to access engagement data to trigger real-time experiences for customers. Or maybe even have more intelligent insights to help the sales team know where to focus their time more. So having more data is just going to help you gain more value and increase ROI and revenue and productivity. So let's walk through a use case. This is a way you can leverage Data Cloud for your business users. So maybe you have an external ERP system where you have a bunch of sales order and product data. So you could use the MuleSoft connector, connect to that ERP system using MuleSoft, and then bring the customer sales order and product data in a Data Cloud. But then you might have some similar data sitting in CRM. So you can bring the customer data in from CRM using the CRM out-of-the-box connector. But also you might have data in Marketing Cloud. So you can then use the Marketing Cloud connector to bring in more related data related to these customers that's sitting out in Data Cloud. So how can an admin accomplish this with Data Cloud? Well, let's go through some of the steps. First, you would connect to your data sources and you would create your data streams using those connectors. And then you're going to map the data to the data model. That's the DMOs we talked about earlier. Once you have the data mapped, then you can build identity resolution rules to match data between ERP, CRM, and Marketing Cloud customers. And this is going to create a bigger view of your customer. Then you can create insights on previous segments of customers who have not purchased certain products for a marketing campaign. Then you can also create data actions and flow to consume the data in CRM. Maybe you want to create a task or an opportunity using this data. Then also you can then further segment your data to create segments of customers of certain demographics. And then you can activate this data back to Marketing Cloud to use this data. Maybe you want to send marketing emails to customers who have not bought certain products by using all this connected data from Data Cloud. And the reason why you're able to do that is you're able to take in that sales order data to see who's purchased these products and then eliminate those customers. So you're going to have less spam and you're going to have higher ROI and higher marketing capabilities.
All right, so now let's talk about how can you get started with Data Cloud. So in case you didn't hear, back at Dreamforce, we announced free Data Cloud, which means all Salesforce customers, Enterprise Edition and above, so Enterprise, Unlimited, and Unlimited Plus, can get started with Data Cloud for free. We give you 250,000 data services credits, so Data Cloud works on a credit-based system, and we have seen that it lets you implement up to 2 use cases, so you can get started. So what are those 2 use cases that we have seen? One is being able to unify across your Salesforce orgs, unify your prospect records or your lead records, do some lead prioritization across orgs. So that's more for your Sales Cloud type users. For our Service Cloud customers, being able to unify your customer records across different Salesforce orgs again, and to kind of give them that, to give your service agents that single view of the customer across orgs to be able to provide personalized customer service. So the way that you do it is you can do it in your account within your Salesforce instance, and basically you can provision Data Cloud for like it's completely self-service. So you can get started. We have very prescriptive implementation guides as well in terms of how do you get going there. And then also really excited, like last month we launched Data Cloud on Trailhead as well. So we have a hands-on module, a project within Trailhead. So for all our Trailblazers, where you can get started with Data Cloud, you even get a 5-day trial org with it, where you can ingest data from your CRM instance. You can create some formulas. You can map them to your data model objects, and more. And that's the short link for it. I've also included the trail mix here in terms of how do you get get skilled up on Data Cloud. And then if you scan the QR code that we have there, that will give you access to this deck as well. There is no forms. You can just download it, and then you can access these links there as well. With that, I do want to say thank you. Thank you for sticking with us. It's past 4 o'clock on a Thursday evening, day 2 of TrailblazerDX. So thank you again.